We are days away here from Halloween, but this celebrations may be quieter than in other years, given the impact of the government shutdown, tariffs, and for many, job uncertainty. Some retailers are scrambling to secure enough costumes and decorations, and consumers may be watching their spending more carefully than before. Let's get some insight by turning to Shohini Kundu, Assistant Professor of Finance at UCLA's Anderson School of Management. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, how important is Halloween as an economic indicator?
You know, Halloween is one of the biggest holidays of the year, and we're seeing that tariffs on Chinese imports have directly impacted what consumers are paying this Halloween season. We're seeing costumes and decorations up 10 to 50% in many cases. You know, big ticket decorations like animatronic skeletons and fog machines have seen some of the sharpest jumps. But we've also seen that candy has been affected too, a bit more modestly, around 5 to 12% increases due to imported ingredients and packaging costs. What's surprising is that despite these higher prices, Halloween spending is hitting a record $13.1 billion this year, according to the National Retail Federation, and that's up from $12.2 billion last year. But consumers are being strategic. They're spending more overall, but they're buying fewer items per person because of those higher unit prices. So the tariffs aren't killing demand, but they're definitely changing how people shop.
So people are essentially spending more but getting less, right?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And, you know, the big takeaway from this is that consumers will still spend on what matters to them: traditions, experiences, celebrations, even when prices go up. But they're shopping smarter.
90% of Halloween costumes, decorations, and accessories contain at least one component made overseas, most often China. How is that and tariffs affecting this holiday specifically?
It's really a double challenge. There's the cost increase itself, and then there's the volatility around it. So smaller retailers are being hit the hardest. They're facing 15 to 25% tariff increases, but they lack the negotiating power that a lot of big chains have. And that compresses their margins significantly, sometimes to the breaking point. And then there's also a planning nightmare. You know, retailers have to decide, do they absorb these costs? Do they pass them to consumers?
Right.
Do they find new suppliers in Vietnam or India? You know, each option has trade-offs, and moving the supply chains isn't just about costs. It means establishing new relationships, ensuring quality control, and dealing with the different logistics. And, you know, with seasonal merchandise like Halloween, timing is really everything. You can't just delay shipments until the tariff situation improves, because Halloween happens on October 31st, whether you're ready or not.
Yeah.
So retailers, you know, are forced to either overorder early, which increases storage costs, or risk running out of stock early during peak selling season.
The average consumer is expected to spend about $114.45 on average this Halloween. I don't know how many pillowcases I've cut up in my youth to make my own costume. What sort of cuts and cutbacks are people making this holiday?
I think from the consumer's perspective, there are a number of things that consumers are doing. They're shopping for, you know, we're seeing people hunt for discounts. They're switching brands for better value, and they're redistributing their budgets. So people might skip things like the extra yard lights, but they probably won't tell their kids to skip the costumes. And so people are really reallocating where they can.
It is really stunning to me and others I've talked to with how commercialized Halloween has become. I love to answer the door, and it is rare that I see a homemade costume. You know, pumpkin patches have turned into amusement parks. It's just, I mean, it takes a lot of money to do Halloween these days.
That's right. Absolutely.
All right.
And we'll see this more acutely in the coming months when the holidays come forward.
Yeah, I mean, if this is Halloween, imagine what, you know, Christmas is going to be. All right, we'll have to leave it here. Shohini Kundu, Assistant Professor of Finance there at UCLA's Anderson School of Management. I appreciate your time and your expertise.
Thank you.
Thanks.